Good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming. This is a news conference that was called to describe an action that was taken by Amy Blanding from the Northern Health Authority, Prince George. This morning, Amy filed a lawsuit against the Northern Health Authority for wrongful dismissal, defamation, and a violation of her charter rights because she expressed solidarity with the people of Gaza. And she is joined by her former supervisor, Vash Ebadi Cook, who resigned in protest against the unfair dismissal of Amy. These two are also being joined by Hassan Alam, who is the president of the BC Civil Liberties Association, which, as people know, is a very strong defender of free speech rights. Also joining us today are a number of people who work in the health sector who are confronting some of the same fears that Amy may have confronted when she spoke up in favor of Palestinian lives, and also they fear facing some of the same types of repercussions as Amy has confronted now, and they will be available to speak as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Amy, and thank you again for coming.
Howdy, hello, thank you for coming. My name is Amy Blanding. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm grateful today to be speaking on the unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples. For descriptive access, I'm a white, cisgender, queer, disabled person. I have brown shoulder-length hair. I'm wearing a gray sweater with a watermelon pin. And I'm standing on the steps of the Vancouver Courthouse. Before I begin, I want to express my deep gratitude for everyone who has supported me leading up to this point, particularly to the Palestinian Legal Referral Service, to my family, to the Two Rivers for Palestine comrades back in Clayton, Tenay, Prince George, and especially to Vash Ebadi Cook, whose leadership and integrity is unparalleled and whose friendship has been the biggest blessing throughout all of this difficulty. I'm here today to challenge the utter lack of process exhibited by the Northern Health Authority, the threat to my fundamental rights and freedoms, and to raise issue with the wider suppression of the pro-Palestinian support we are seeing across the province and the country. I have worked for the Northern Health Authority for close to 7 years. I have been in the role of Director of Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility since August 2023. I was the first full-time director to hold that position at Northern Health. I have been an active musician in British Columbia music scene for over 10 years. The majority of my music is political in nature. On April 6th, I played a community concert in which I sang a song that I wrote about longing for peace and freedom in Palestine. At the concert's dress rehearsal, I wore a shirt that showed the outline of the shape of Israel-Palestine filled in with a watermelon, a symbol that expresses solidarity with the people of Palestine. Following the event, I made a post on Instagram referencing statistics corroborated by the International Court of Justice, the United Nations, and others concerning civilian deaths in Gaza and criticizing the use of starvation as a tool of war. These events occurred outside of work on my personal time. I'm a leader in my community. I am not anti-Semitic. I fundamentally support the rights for all people, Jewish and Palestinian included, to live lives free from oppression. I also adamantly oppose the ongoing genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. I find it distressing that my support for basic human rights cost me my job. This is another example of anti-Palestinian racism in the workplace. I believe Northern Health violated my constitutionally protected right to freedom of expression. On April 24th, members of the Prince George community sent an extremely defamatory letter to Northern Health. It was factually incorrect, hate-filled, and deeply troubling. After receiving the complaint, Northern Health did not give me the opportunity to respond to the allegations. On May 10th, I was called into a meeting with David Williams, Vice President, Human Resources at Northern Health, under the assumption that it was in follow-up to my safety concerns I had expressed about the letter. Instead, David Williams demanded that I publish a pre-drafted statement on my personal social media, stating that my actions had negatively impacted community members and caused them to feel less safe accessing healthcare services, specifically the Jewish community. The statement went against my political and ethical beliefs. Taken extremely off guard, I asked for time to consider the demand. I was denied and immediately removed from my position as director of IDEA. I am the primary breadwinner in my family. I have a disability that costs between $200 and $500 a month in medical supplies. The financial repercussions of my removal and the implications on my career are significant. The unfounded accusations of discrimination against me, ongoing harassment and messages of hate I continue to receive, and the wider implications of what this means in the fight for justice have deeply impacted my mental and physical health. My concern for my personal safety, my family's safety, and the safety of my friends and former Northern Health colleagues who are outspoken in their support for Palestinian human rights has caused extreme stress and anxiety. However, I stand firm in my integrity and my rights. To say I am disappointed in Northern Health is a gross understatement. I did not feel safe, supported, or cared for by the organization or its senior leadership. My job as the Director for Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility was to work to actively dismantle intersecting systems of oppression that perpetuate harm and inequity in the healthcare system, both for employees and the patients and families that we serve. Amidst the current health human resource crisis, this work is even more critical. I was proud of and very good at my job. My privilege affords me an incredible opportunity to speak up about what happened and to hopefully catalyze change within the healthcare system and in my community. We must all be able to rely on our essential charter rights of freedom of expression. Thank you for coming here today. I'm going to turn it over to my friend and ally, Vash, for their statement.
Hi, I'm Vashabhati Cook. I use he, they pronouns. I'm also grateful to be here on the Coast Salish territories. At the time of Amy's removal from her role, I was the Executive Director, Workforce Sustainability, Quality, and Innovation. Among my responsibilities in this role, I was asked to improve the retention of staff at Northern Health, including to oversee the establishment of the Office of Inclusion, Diversity, Equity, and Accessibility. I was one of the individuals who decided to promote Amy into this role, and I received significant positive feedback from the community about her. She was widely regarded as a great leader in the organization. That is why I was so disappointed when I was also asked to carry out her removal, for which I ultimately resigned in protest. I did not observe Northern Health to follow any of the required processes to determine if the complaint made against Amy was reliable or made in good faith. Northern Health executives stated plainly to me that the accuracy of the complaint was irrelevant to their decision. On that basis, it appeared to me that Northern Health was more concerned about making the problem go away than in treating Amy fairly. Amy's personal experience has been terrible. Her reputation and integrity have been unduly questioned, and her livelihood impacted. The actions taken by Northern Health around Amy's removal make me concerned about the safety and stability of those still working there. I worry about the potential risk of harm to Palestinian, Jewish, Arab, Middle Eastern, Muslim, and other marginalized staff, volunteers, physicians, and students at Northern Health. I worry about the lack of transparency of handling this public complaint, and it concerns me that Northern Health did not seek to understand and create a space for restorative dialogue. I also worry about what signal this sends to the broader Northern Health community members who choose to speak out against violence and for human rights, and how this may silence them. I hope that with the filing of Amy's claim, those that have made these decisions will be held accountable. I hope that the process by which this occurred is investigated, and the broader harm this decision has caused Amy, myself, and other Northern Health staff, physicians, volunteers, and students are acknowledged and in time rectified. I stand in solidarity with Amy.
Good morning. My name is Hassan Alam, and I am the president of the BC Civil Liberties Association. The BCCLA is dedicated to protecting the fundamental freedoms that allow every individual in Canada to engage in public discourse, challenge systems of oppression, and contribute to a healthy democracy. The case of Amy Blanding, who was removed from her position by Northern Health Authority for exercising her right to speak out in support of Palestinian human rights in her own personal time, is a striking and troubling example of the growing chill on freedom of expression in this province and across the country. The right to express one's views on matters of public importance, especially those related to human rights and international justice, is a cornerstone of our charter protected freedoms. Ms. Blanding's dismissal reflects a broader and alarming trend of employers disciplining and silencing individuals for engaging in political speech. This is particularly concerning when such expression centers on calling for accountability in the face of atrocities such as the ongoing genocide in Gaza. We are witnessing an increasing number of cases where individuals like Ms. Blanding face repercussions simply for expressing their conscience. Whether in the workplace, academia, or public institutions, people are being unjustly penalized for standing up against systemic wrongs, including the complicity of the Canadian government in international human rights abuses. This extends beyond professional consequences. People's reputations are being tarnished for exercising their freedom of expression rights. This sends a clear signal that dissenting voices, particularly those speaking up for marginalized communities, are being suppressed. Such silencing not only harms the individuals involved, but also weakens a foundation of democratic participation and civil liberties in Canada. The BCCLA stands firmly with Amy Blanding in this lawsuit because defending her right is defending the rights of all of us. We must not allow the fear of controversy or discomfort to justify the erosion of our fundamental freedoms. We urge institutions across the province and across this country to respect the right of individuals to speak out without fear of reprisal. No one in Canada should ever have to fear losing their job or damaging their reputation for advocating for human rights, whether in Gaza or elsewhere. Thank you.
So thank you, all three of you. I really admire you, and Amy, I really respect the decision that you made to step forward. As I mentioned, there are other people here who are here to express solidarity with Amy and also to express, concern about some of the repercussions that people are facing who express solidarity with the people of Palestine. And I want to mention three of them in particular: Dr. Margaret McGregor, who is a Vancouver physician; Dr. Iqbal Siddiqui, who is a retired physician who's worked for a number of health authorities in the province; and Ben Fussell, who is a nurse who works in Vancouver and also faces some of the same potential repercussions. I don't know if any of you would like to speak, but if you do, then you are more than welcome to step up to the mic. But thank you, everybody, for being here. Really am happy to see all these faces, and thank you.